the deal, you guys? It is your girl, Fallon Favorites. Yes, back again for another episode of the Baby Mama Chronicles. Thank you so much for joining me. I really want to just say thank you to all of my subbies. I love y'all, BM gang. Y'all already know what it is. Make sure to share, subscribe, like, share with all your friends, post it on your Facebook, put it on your Instagrams, on the Twitters, and on all of the different social media platforms. We are trying to boost that algorithm and get Baby Mama Chronicles all the way to the top. People need this content. People need this information. So we got to make it do what it do, okay, y'all? Off top. So today, ladies, I want to talk about something that came across my desk. I think this is paramount to the type of mothers that we are as baby mamas, the type of baby daddies that we choose, okay? All of it is relative. Fatherless baby mamas. Okay, if you're a witness. Now, you know what? Just speaking about myself before we even go into the topic, I wouldn't say that I was fatherless. I have always known who my father is, and I have always been attached to my father at the hip. I am infatuated and in love with my daddy still to this day. He was my first boyfriend. He was my first just love and all of those things. The thing that happened with me was my mother and father had somewhat of a tumultuous relationship, and they weren't able to kind of put the differences aside to work together in order to give me the best benefit of both parents. So I was primarily raised by my mother. I did get to spend summers and, things like that with my father. However, I did move during my junior high years, which were so formative. I would say, 6th to 8th grade, I didn't really have him around as much as I would have liked. And then going into high school, there was some friction and some separation there. So it never really was stable, right? And I think for women, going into the topic, fatherless baby mamas, we got to really look at that, y'all. And I think that a lot of the decisions that we make are predicated on what type of relationship we had with daddy, right? Because daddy is, again, like I was saying, daddy is our first introduction to what a man is. Hold on, y'all. Of course, it's ghetto. Hold on. Urban living. Our father is our introduction to what a man is, what he wears, what he smells like, how he, talks, how he speaks, his mannerisms, everything that we learn is from our daddy. And when you don't have a strong male figure in the home, okay? And if he's not in the home and as a an active part of your life, if you don't have that strong male figure as a woman, you are going to run into problems when it comes to dating, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to having a co-parent relationship, when it comes, time to even work with men in the workplace or in whatever industry that you're in. Any kind of male interaction with you is going to be difficult for you. Okay, it's going to be something that you have to learn on your own as you go. And a lot of times what happens is we're not really privy to that until we get into the relationship space. And in this generation, for whatever reason, me and my mama talk about this all the time. Our generation, we get baby first, we get married later. Okay, we have baby first, get married later. They didn't used to do it like that. They would get married first and then have baby. There was an order. We've kind of flipped it. And so, the baby comes first, and those are our first real interactions to really figure out, like, damn, I might have a problem. Abandonment issues. I may have some projections that I'm putting on my baby daddy that I may not even be aware of due to the father relationship, daughter-father relationship that I have. So it's really, really important to get into, guys. And what sparked this conversation was something that I found on Twitter. I'll try to see if I can put it in one of these corners, and it'll be in a little excerpt. And it was a woman, that posted a picture or a video of her daughter going to see her father in like a hotel. And I know some of you guys may have seen it. And it was, her surprising her daughter with what was going to be maybe like a visiting with friends or some kind of hotel stay. It actually happened to be her father in the hotel to surprise her, who I guess she hadn't seen in many, many moons. Daughter or daddy opens the door, daughter is at the front door, and she completely is beside herself and kind of falls out in tears, because she hasn't seen her father in a super, super long time. It was triggering. it was triggering. And for any daddyless daughters or daughters that have had, women that have had strained relationships with their fathers, it was definitely triggering. And I think if you watch the video, you'll see that it is triggering as well. And, some people were just saying more than anything, like, why did you bring that on social media? I mean, I guess that's give or take, depending on what it is that you're into. For somebody who doesn't really share a lot of her personal life on social media, that's nothing that I would have done personally, but I don't do judgment because I don't know what the path that led her up to posting that was. And, maybe it could have helped somebody. It could, who really knows? But the instance itself and the situation itself, damn, it prompted a thought in my mind, and I was just like, wow, like, this thing is cyclical, and it's still happening. And I don't know if men understand. For those of you who have daughters, I do have men that watch the channel. Hey y'all, daddies or baby daddies, the ones that have little girls, please understand how important and vital your presence is to your daughter. If you watch that video, it'll probably be triggering for you and probably pull a little heartstring, because no little girl should have to look at her father like that, as if she's crying because she may not even know when she's going to see him again, or it's been that long since she's seen him. Young girls are so fragile, and the father is really who builds up your self-esteem, your self-confidence, pouring into you very early, letting you know who you are, okay? Teaching you things that a father should teach you, right? How to go and get your oil changed if you need to get your oil changed on your car. Potentially how to even change a flat tire. Maybe how to protect yourself in self-defense. Teaching you, of course, about men, the things that you want to know about men, just being a man. Your mama can't teach you that. It's the same way as they say, a mama can't raise a man. Well, a woman can't raise a daughter completely on her own either. You need the duality, right? You need father to come in and teach you those really important lessons that you're going to use going forward as you ascend into womanhood, right? Whether it was right or wrong that the girl posted it, she posted it. And it was just very telling to me that this issue is still very prevalent, and that there's something that we have to look at as baby mamas and how we interface with our baby daddies. We got to look at those daddy relationships, y'all. So it's not really like a tip thing. Hold on, sip of tea. See, get you a baby that loves you. This is what my baby girl bought me, Mom Fuel, because she knows I'm a coffee drinking fool. I'm not drinking coffee right now, though. I'm drinking tea. This is chamomile. I'm kind of taking a sabbatical from coffee and a lot of other things. Maybe we'll do a health episode. We got to start taking care of ourselves, lady. Mental health, physical health, all the things. So not really a tips thing, but just some things that I want you guys to start thinking about, right? So if you're with baby daddy and you guys are, sometimes it's not even just problems. I don't want to make it seem like it's always, some of us do have those tumultuous relationships with our baby daddy where we just can't communicate, period. You do have to get the courts involved or a mediator, because you guys just cannot speak without just constant friction. But I think more than that, those are kind of, special cases. I think more than that, it's just kind of a lack of communication and an inability to see each other as you really are, without the labels and the jackets that we may have put on one another, right? And I think, ladies, for those that may not be having the super severe difficulties with their baby daddy, but maybe there may be a lack of communication, there may be a underlying, just feeling of negative energy that you guys have between you, I'm going to urge you to look at your father relationship, okay? Look at the relationship that you had with your father and really assess the kind of relationship that you had with your father. I also want to point out that just because you lived with a man, right? Because it doesn't necessarily have to be your father, right? It could be father by birth, your birth father. It could be a stepfather. It could be an uncle or a grandpa or something like that too. Just that strong male presence in your life. And even if you had that, but these were not men that were men of integrity, men that were honest, men that were hardworking, men that were not lazy, men that were upwardly mobile, not necessarily the richest in the world, or maybe they did have affluence, maybe they did have, a lot of monetary value because they were hard workers or hustlers. but they had, you know, they worked hard and they made sure they had enough money to keep a roof over everyone's head, and showed up to work every day, and, you know, helped around the house and showed love, and you saw them having loving interactions with your mother. Again, this is if this is the father or a stepfather, but loving interactions with the mother, or if it's an uncle or a grandpa, you know, just that love and protection that he provided for the women in his family. A lot of women have had men in the family with them, but they didn't do shit. You know what I'm saying? They were not people that contributed to the overall development of the young girl. So just because you had a daddy in the house, that may have been more of a hindrance to you than a help if this man was not coming to the table with valuable intangibles that you could take with you into your adult life as a woman. So I also want to point that out. That's very, very important to note. If you didn't have that, all of the things that I just mentioned in a man that you had in your life, you are going to find that you have difficulty in interfacing with men. And it's something that I had to learn, okay? Because we're talking about me. Now, again, I knew daddy, and I love daddy, and I adored my daddy, but I didn't get to spend enough time. You know, I didn't really get to spend enough time. In addition to my father, I don't think necessarily was ready to be a father. He definitely wasn't ready to be a husband, child. And this came from his own mouth, okay? Talks that I've had with my daddy. He just wasn't mature enough, and he wasn't ready. So I don't feel like it was really a lot that he would be able to have given me at that time. And it kind of showed in his ability to be able to parent me, you know, in the right way. So I dealt with that all throughout my adolescence. I dealt with that all through in my, you know, my young womanhood, and, you know, trying to navigate through relationships. And really, it's only been through the grace of God that I've been able to do the inner work, the shadow work, into figuring out, you know, the dark sides of myself and repairing those and reconciling those, and going back to my father and having conversations, going back to my mother and having conversations, having open, honest conversations with my partner, letting him know what my triggers are, letting him know what my background is, letting him meet my family so he can kind of get a better gauge to understand who I am, how I've become to be this person, the good and the bad. And it's something that you ladies need to do too, right? You really have to take stock and inventory of what kind of father did I have, and how did that, you know, push me or propel me into the situation that I'm in now. If you had a no good baby daddy, if you got a baby daddy that you can't communicate with, if you have, you know, a baby daddy that doesn't take care of their child the way that you would like them to, you have to take the ownership in knowing that, okay, I may have chosen him, and this is not judgment, ladies, right? So it's not like too bad, so sad, even though it is kind of like that just a little bit. It's more so about, this is the man that you chose, but why? You know, why did I choose someone like this, right? No, none of us with a clear conscience and a clear mind, right? Because in our subconscious or whatever, we do things that may not be really in alignment with what we really want in our hearts, but it's what we're conditioned to believe what we deserve. No woman really wants a father that's not going to be present, right? First of all, you're hoping that you can raise your child with the daddy off top. You know what I'm saying? What woman is not going to want to do that? You know what I mean? It may be some, but most women want to cohabitate and raise the child with the man. But none of us thought like, okay, we don't want to be with the man. We don't want the man to take care of our kids financially. We don't want the man to not want to spend time with our child on his own, okay? Picking them up, taking them to the barbershop, taking them to go get ice cream, taking them to go do different things, you know, that they like to do, or hobbies or skill, whatever. We don't go into it feeling like, okay, we don't want our baby daddy to have an emotional bond with our child. We want all of the things. We want our men to love our children the way that we love our children. So in that case, why do we pick men that are ineligible, you know, and incapable of providing those things? It's because you go for what you know. And if you don't know nothing, then you're not going to really get nothing. You know what I mean? And the first person that you learn from, y'all, is daddy, is that strong male figure. If you are having those issues with your baby daddy, you have to look at that. And I would urge you all, you know, I used to be really scared to have the talk with my dad. There are so many memories that are tied into the trauma-filled spaces of my mind, you know, that are tied to my father. And I felt like opening Pandora's box was just going to send me on a tailspin of just emotion that I really wasn't really ready to unpack. You know, we already have so much going on as mothers. We got so much going on as, you know, business owners and just life. We got too much going on, right? And I just didn't really want to unpack it. I didn't really know where it would go. And, you know, my stepmother, I have a very supportive stepmother, his wife, they've been together since I was 10, since, you know, the early 90s. And, you know, she's always encouraged me to just take your time in speaking with him. You know, you'll have the moment when it's time for you guys to have that moment. And when we did, you know, have that moment to sit down, I was able to kind of give of myself from my heart. There was no hate, there was no malice, there was no judgment. I kind of have a relationship with my daddy anyway, where he can't do no wrong. Just with me, I just love my daddy to death. So it just is what it is. It's cemented. I can't help it. I'm a favors. We just know. So I, you know, it wasn't hard for me to have that conversation with him, and I didn't have any hostility at that time. You know, and it may have been because I was older. I'm more mature. I have a daughter who's older, so I've had time to grow. And maybe you need to do that too. It's not something necessarily you have to rush and do. You can also write a letter, you know. But when I had that moment with my father, I immediately, in the moment, felt the weight kind of lift off of me, and I was kind of able to see a little bit clearer as far as who I am as a woman, you know. And having my father kind of explain to me some of the things, giving me the answers to questions that I always had. Well, Dad, why not? Why, you know, this? Why weren't you around for that? Having that opportunity to speak with him, you know, changed everything.
I'll get some more water. I'll be right back.
Okay, good. This is the ghetto stuff that happens on my show, okay? So it's never too late. I want to urge you, ladies, if your situation sounds similar to mine, if you know that you haven't had the best relationship with your father, if your father is deceased, if your father is in jail, if your father, you know, built another family somewhere else and really didn't care to try to build that life with you and understand who you are, right? You don't have to go chasing him down, no, you know, necessarily. If you want to, if you feel that in your heart and your spirit to do, follow that. You can always write a letter, ladies, okay? Writing is so therapeutic, okay? Write that letter, get it out. You harboring all of this negative energy, you know, is not good for you. It's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for your children. And believe it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, that is a subtle projection that or it may be an overt projection that you are putting towards your baby daddy, and you may not even be aware of where this negative vibe is even coming from. A lot of it probably is starting with your daddy. Figure out your daddy issues, ladies, okay? We'll have another episode where we kind of unpack maybe some more things specifically within the daddy experience for girls, because that's something I'm very passionate about and empathetic, and it touches my soul in a certain way because I know what that is like. I have had experiences in that realm, and I know that it definitely, it can be a lot. It can be a lot, so I totally understand. But ladies, yes, I urge you to write that letter, write that open letter to your daddy, and give yourself some time to see if that improves the relationship that you have with your baby daddy. I'm almost certain that it will. Okay, ladies, I just wanted to give y'all a little something with that. Like I said, I want to unpack that a little bit more. We'll go into more depth with the baby daddy, excuse me, not the baby daddy, but your daddy, that experience and how that could influence your baby daddy relationship, and different tools that we may be able to use to improve our baby daddy, baby mama situation, and kind of resolving some of those old hurts and past traumas, okay? Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. As always, comment if you guys have any experiences that are similar to mine. If you feel like your baby daddy relationship is not as good because of your father relationship, daughter-father relationship, let me know in the comments, okay? And I will see you guys next time. Peace.